Hey there, thanks for joining me. On today's thrilling episode, we're diving headfirst into the 2025 quarterback carousel. Who's heading where, and what does it mean for the teams hungry for a new quarterback? As a Colts fan, I can assure you, I've experienced all these ups and downs of this stupid, crazy ride. We're going to tackle the hot topic of NFL free agency, and we're going to answer the burning question: are we really facing a quarterback shortage? Keep it locked here. You don't want to miss this one. Let's start the show.
Welcome to Gabes First Down. This isn't your dad's talk radio. From the front offices to the field, contracts to controversies, this is Gabes First Down. The ultimate huddle for breaking news, bold takes, and everything shaping the league. Because in football, just like in life, every play matters. Now here's the host of the show, Gabriel Werber.
Sam Darnold signs with the Seahawks on a 3-year, $100.5 million deal, worth $33.5 a year. I don't hate the move because he's 27 years old, while Geno Smith is 34. It can be argued, though, that they have very similar numbers. You could argue that, but I think the better argument is Sam Darnold played for Kevin O'Connell last year. Wasn't Kevin O'Connell the offensive mastermind who was the coach of the year? Oh, yeah. He also got to throw to Justin Jefferson. Life's going to be different. Much different in Seattle, and he's going to be asked to put way more on his shoulders. Now with a defensive head coach and a new system. One thing I did find interesting, though, Sam Darnold has played Seattle 3 times in his career. All 3 times, he played them in Seattle. And his only loss was as a Jet. He beat the Seahawks in 2022 as a Panther, a game where Geno Smith threw 3 touchdowns and lost 30-24. And he won again with the Vikings last year, 27-24, where they both threw 3 touchdowns. Maybe Mike McDonald thought, we better get him before we lose him again. And almost instantly, PFT, a.k.a. Mike Florio, throws it out there that Seattle can get out of this deal after 1 year for $37.5 million. That's probably why Geno didn't want to sign it. Darnold's career was over 2 years ago, so he's fine betting on himself with a prove-it year. It was rumored that Geno Smith was offered the exact same deal. Was it Pete Carroll that made him choose Vegas, or the fact that they traded DK Metcalf? Geno was in the final year of a 3-year deal paying him $44.5 million in 2025. So I think the Raiders are probably going to wait to extend Smith until after the draft to see if they got Shedeur Sanders or not. If not, fine, we'll extend your contract. And if you're a Raiders fan, Geno's a clear upgrade over Minshew Mania. It also takes pressure off of the team, who all of a sudden isn't scrambling to sign a free agent quarterback, and now maybe you don't have to worry about a quarterback in the draft either. Maybe you could even trade down for more picks. The Jets signed Justin Fields to a 2-year, $40 million deal with $30 million guaranteed.
I kind of dig it.
Okay, I'm about to throw out a bunch of numbers, so stick with me real quick. It'll make sense in a minute. In the NFL, Justin Fields is 14-30 as a starter. Averages 155 yards passing per game with 45 touchdowns and 31 interceptions. That's not great. As a starter at Ohio State, he was 20-2. He lost 1 game each year that he played there. He threw for 63 touchdowns and only 9 picks at Ohio State. In my mind, there's only one way to describe this difference. At Ohio State, he played for Ryan Day, an offensive coach, while the Bears and the Steelers both have defensive coaches and systems. I understand the whole get your money aspect, but Aaron Glenn is now his 3rd defensive head coach in the NFL. And it's also the Jets. I have no reason to think this is a situation that will just unlock his potential. But Fields was 4-2 with the Steelers last year before he was benched, so who knows? But now that I've told you what's wrong with this deal, I'm going to share a stat with you. Fields and Garrett Wilson were teammates for 2 years in college. Over those 22 games they played together, Fields and Wilson connected for 66 catches, over 1,000 yards, and 9 touchdowns. And his passer rating was 133 when targeting Wilson. It might be a great signing.
People are asking me, everyone is asking me what I think of this move. I don't like it. I love it.
Or the Jets might just be a glutton for punishment. Anyway, moving on. After the break, we'll discuss the Giants quarterback room and what Aaron Rodgers is thinking. Does Joe Flacco have a market? And yes, I'm saving Daniel Indiana Jones for our final segment. So keep it locked. Let's pay some bills and we'll be right back. You've always been active, even though it's been a while. Now here you are, on the court, wondering, do I still have it? Has time passed me by? What do we do now? It's time to come back to life. With Fountain of Youth, we filled it with everything you need to get your life back. Get your game back with Fountain of Youth. It works because it's alive. Hello and welcome back. Jameis Winston is putting a pin in his motivational speaker career to play for the Giants on a 2-year, $8 million deal. And for close to a week, he might have even thought he was going to be the starter. And then the Giants signed Russell Wilson on a 1-year, $10.5 million deal. A move that, it pushed their projected win total from 3.5 to 5.5. But this is a 1-year prove-it deal, right? Or is it a 1-year bridge for whoever the Giants draft with the 3rd overall pick? There's jobs that are on the line with this coaching staff, and the fact that they have to have a good season to keep that job, I don't think I would want to draft a quarterback. If there's an option like Travis Hunter, you have to get Russ weapons, because the Giants on paper are much better than their 2024 record. Malik Neighbors broke the Giants' single-season reception record that had been held by Steve Smith since 2009. He did that as a rookie on a bad team. So I can see a scenario where Russ saves Brian Daboll's job. It's either that or Russ, Daboll, and the GM are all fired before the end of the season. That's why they tried so hard for Matt Stafford. That's why they wanted Aaron Rodgers. They know it's now or never. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, man, for a while there, it appeared that his silence was ruining Russ's life, didn't it? It was looking like Russ wasn't going to get a deal anywhere until Aaron made up his mind. Now the Steelers' 2024 quarterback room both play in MetLife, and Aaron's still over there twiddling thumbs like he's trying to decide what to order at a restaurant. Come on, dude, just pick. Is it too much to ask for a decision before the next solar eclipse? A lot of folks seem to think he's just sitting there waiting to see if the Vikings will send him one of those come and play for us texts. I mean, sure, the Vikings have a couple top-notch receivers, but the Steelers have a solid receiving group too. Plus, their defense was ranked 12th last year, even after all the injuries. And let's not forget the Steelers' schedule in 2025. They get to face the NFC North and the AFC East. It's practically a setup for a revenge tour. Go out with a bang, Aaron. Or at least with a really loud, "Hey, I told you so." Why does that not sound good for him? I hear people grumble that Rodgers may retire. But I will say to those people, he wanted to come back to the Jets because he had developed a massive chip on his shoulder from everything that happened to him in New York. That does not sound like somebody who's pondering retirement. It's also reported out of Pittsburgh that there was a 6.5-hour meeting, and it ended very positive. Are they lying about that? Because if it was positive, that's another indication he wants to play. And we all think to ourselves, well, then what's the holdup? And then the Vikings GM calls a press conference where he says this.
For me to sit here and say that, anything's 100% forever, that's just not the job, right? We're responding to scenarios and different information as it comes. So, obviously things can change, but right now we're really happy with our room and we're going to look to upgrade it in different ways. But for now, we're really excited.
What a talented wordsmith he is. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I just heard that the Vikings may have reconsidered their stance on not being interested in Aaron Rodgers. Does this mean they discovered they could win the Super Bowl, but only by fulfilling the Brett Favre prophecy? Let's imagine for a minute what the Steelers would do if Rodgers became a Viking. What could you possibly do? Let Mason Rudolph have the reins? Your only other option would be Joe Flacco, and I think that's proof of a quarterback shortage. There have been several teams that haven't had a dependable quarterback for close to a decade. The Steelers are on said list ever since Big Ben retired. But finding a franchise guy is hard. That's why guys like Joe Flacco still get phone calls. That's why most of the backups in the league today have a team at all. Quality quarterbacks don't grow on trees. We'll be back for the next segment after this. You've heard of Fountain of Youth, but why should you believe it works? Let's start with how it works. We start with agave juice to lubricate your joints. Bougainvillea petals, because they contain every vitamin and mineral we know about, and some we don't yet. The essence of broom plant. Turn your toxins into octane up in your game. Mesquite-infused prickly pear. Mesquite to stand up straighter, prickly pear because you'll love the flavor. We even added nightshade so you can stay out later. But I'm not a rapper, I'm a juice maker. And we're out of time, so I'll see you later. Get your fountain of youth wherever there's a refrigerator. Hello, and welcome back. Hey, thanks for sticking around for this last segment. Everybody better get comfortable for this one. Grab your popcorn. Uncle Gabriel's about to tell you a story. This is a story about a basketball town that also had a football team. One day, this football team got Peyton Manning, and he taught the city about greatness. Honestly, he spoiled the city. But then something crazy happened. We traded a once-in-a-lifetime player for, yes, another once-in-a-lifetime player.
In the 2012 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Andrew Luck.
We got Andrew Luck, who the Colts allowed to be sacked 174 times in 86 games, thus letting him down and leading to...
This certainly isn't how I envisioned this or planned this, but I am going to retire. This is not an easy decision. Honestly, it's the hardest decision of my life, but it is the right decision for me. For the last 4 years or so, I've been in this cycle of injury, pain, rehab.
The worst part is he retired 2 weeks before the season opener. That led the team into this goodwill carousel of quarterbacks, 6 to be exact, in only 4 years. And then we drafted Anthony Richardson, a physical freak. We're back on track, right? No. Richardson only played in 4 games his rookie year, and only finished 2 of them before needing shoulder surgery after a Week 5 matchup with the Rams. His second season taught us that he could make jaw-dropping throws, but somehow he can't make the short ones. He finished 2024 with a league-low 47% completion percentage, but the chatter got loud after.
We saw Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson come to the sideline at the end of that last drive. I asked their staff what was going on with him. They said officially there is no injury with Richardson. He was a little shaken up. He was a little out of breath. But as far as an official injury, there is none with Richardson, guys.
I've never seen that before in my life out of a quarterback, legitimately. And I know I echo the sentiments of everybody else that has tweeted or talked about it or done anything about it. An NFL quarterback doesn't tap out of a game, especially if they're able to go play. That's kind of a part of the position. You're the face of the franchise. Whenever you're tapping out, whenever you're healthy, what message are you sending to everybody in the building, everybody in the locker room, the entire city, the fan base? And I think what it does is it makes people think, get this guy off of our team.
Somehow you lost Pat McAfee, the world's biggest Colts fan, not to mention the most optimistic, upbeat sports fan ever. That brings us to today. After our GM somehow avoided being fired this offseason, the team announced an open competition, especially at quarterback. They ultimately bring in Daniel Jones, a Giants quarterback who had a cup of coffee with the Vikings. But he also has a playoff victory under his belt. Indiana Jones, here to save the city, has a ring to it. So you think, he might actually win the job. Then you listen to other people, a growing group of people who say, if Jones beats Richardson, that means the Richardson experiment was a failure. And it's going to cost a lot of people jobs. Let's be honest, will it cost anybody other than Richardson a job? Is this just a polite way of telling Richardson, dude, you're out? Or is this the last-ditch attempt to wake him up? Personally, I think whoever starts, as long as we win, is going to be accepted moving forward. I think if we miss the playoffs, it won't matter who started. Blow it up. Peyton showed us what all in looks like. And through 2 years, that is not Anthony Richardson. But just like the Colts failed Andrew Luck, I think the quarterback shortage made the Colts take a guy with almost no experience playing quarterback. And they threw him to the wolves. Hopefully this doesn't make Indianapolis a basketball town once again. Well, folks, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll catch you next week where we're going to continue this quarterback shortage conversation. And we will look ahead to the NFL draft. And we'll see what fresh victims do we have at the quarterback position. Until then, remember, every great game starts with a winning mindset. Keep striving for your goals on and off the field. And until next time, play hard and dream big. We'll see you next week on First Down.